Hello and welcome to another Brown New Day, and of course it's Today in the News. My name is Precious Chukudi and I'll be doing this with my co-host
Damilola Mushaki.
How are you, Dami?
Very fine. Apart from the traffic this morning, so it's really terrible.
Alright, let's just move straight to the front pages of the papers this morning, and we'll be starting off with Vanguard. And the main headline, we have insecurity, federal government failed, says Papal Nuncio, ACF laments, and the riders' life in Nigeria tough as in civil war, ACF warns northern leaders against inflammatory statement, government not securing Nigerians, Papal Nuncio says there's too much violence in Nigeria. Scores of civilians, insurgent security men feared dead in Boko Haram attack on Kukawa, Borno State. Also, COVID-19 update. Lagos records 172 new infections as confirmed cases rise to 50,488. You can see that on page 27. And stories about violence threatens Edo government polls. Amnesty International CSOs. You can see that story on page 9, and on page 12, NDDC Akpabio Pondei under investigation, says EFCC. And stories beneath, we have Rep formerly writes Malami Ahmed on Chinese loans. You can see that story on page 7. And on page 14, we have 7 students writing WASSCE in Gombe test positive for COVID-19. Also, there's a photo story of Unilag acting VC meets workers, showing on the front page of the paper. And businesses hail Kama 2020 as pastors howl in protest. Help ease of doing business, Nasima. Good for business, bad for NGOs, LCCI. It scares investors, shareholders. You can see that story on page 5. And away from Vanguard, we move straight to This Day newspaper.
And on the front page of this day newspaper, we have ACF urges federal government to arrest worsening insecurity in northern states, cautions leaders against inflammatory utterance. Boko Haram abducts 100 people in Kukawa, Borno, and you can see more of that on page 5. And moving on to other stories, EFCC probes Akpabio, Pondei over 81.5 billion NDDC expenditure. Anti-graft commission yet to invite ministers, says aid. You can see that on page 8. And lastly, on the front page of This Day, we have a CBN forex inflow declined by $2.43 billion to $9.72 billion in April. And you can see more of that on page 6. And from there, we'll move straight to The Nation.
And on The Nation newspaper, we have main headlines. UN, AU, US, ECOWAS, others reject Mali group. President detained after resignation. Soldiers must restore order. West African leaders meet today. Also, we have protests over or escape of Oyo killer suspect. IG deploys detectives, and that's all we can take on the front page of the paper. And we're going to move into the newspaper analysis segment, where we'll be joined in by 2 guests. But remember to stay tuned with us so you can see these people and then join us in the conversation in the comment section. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. And if you're just joining us, it's still today in the news, and it's the newspaper analysis segment where we're joined in via Zoom by two interesting guests. We have Mrs. Fumi Komolafe, former Labour editor, Vanguard newspaper. You're welcome, ma. Good morning, ma.
Good morning. It's my pleasure.
Also, we have Dr. Tunde Akoni, Senior Lecturer, School of Communication, Lagos State University. You're welcome, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good to this morning.
All right, thank you for joining us live via Zoom. So we'll be talking about insecurity right now, and my first question would go to Dr. Akoni. Dr. Akoni, I would like us to look at this insecurity situation. Would you liken the insecurity going in the country to that of the civil war? Because some persons are beginning to liken what's happening in the country to that of the civil war. Would you liken that to the civil war?
Well, first let me start by saying that I'm an expert in media and conflict resolution studies. And I need to alert you to the need to be cautious with your choice of words. When you are focusing on issues that border on security, you must have read the different newspapers about certain people cautioning some others about the need to be sensitive to using or deploying inflammatory expressions. So comparing the situation we have on our laps now, the situation we have in this country with that of the civil war, amounts to escalating or exaggerating the situation.
Yes, that's the reason why. That's the reason why.
It is bad, true. And really, those of us in relatively safer locations should not assume that we are safe, because no one is safe until everyone is safe. It is sad enough that the federal government is extremely insensitive, and I choose my word, to issues of insecurity. This situation, particularly with regards to Kukawa insurgency, has gone on for more than 10 years. Now, there are conclusions of different processes to the effect that the type of mitigating the conflict, the insurgency is not part of Nigeria. Actually, challenge in the region. It's not some kind of business.
Mr. Akoni, we can't hear you very clearly, sir.
I don't know what the problem is. My speaker is not muted. Is it better?
Yes, I think it's better now.
Are you following?
Yes.
Okay. So now there are accusations that army officers have taken over the fish business, the huge mega cash fish business in the northeastern part of Nigeria, and so will not be happy or let go the insurgency, because it's now a major source of income for a number of them. Now, there are accusations, and there is no reason why our government should not want. If this remains petty accusations as far as the government is concerned, what about the accusation coming from the governor of Borno State, Professor Zulum, recently, to the effect that soldiers constitute saboteurs to the insurgency challenge in the northeastern part of Nigeria? The federal government does not seem to reckon properly with all of these accusations. Just 2 days ago, I said that and five other colleagues, 5 colleagues of mine, came together with some representations on conflict and corruption in Nigeria.
Dr. Akoni, we can't really hear you clearly, sir. We're not hearing you clearly.
I don't know what the technical problem is. My speaker is not muted here. Is it better now?
It's still breaking.
It's still breaking.
Yes, sir. All right, let me come to Mrs. Komolafe. Ma, I would like to ask you, of late we've been seeing a lot of some of our leaders making some very, aggravating statements. Do you think that this statement they are making could actually worsen the security situation in our country?
Well, I think that what is clear, what is not in dispute, is that as a nation, we have security challenges. Our comments may aggravate, may not aggravate. It may not have anything to do with it, and it might have. But I think what is of interest to most Nigerians now is that the government should be seen to be tackling the issue of insecurity on all fronts. Because we have to be alive to be able to talk about economy, politics, and any other issue. So again, you cannot stop people from talking about it. People see it from different perspectives, and therefore they're going to express their views from different perspectives. I think that once the government is in control or is seen in control, then whether statements are inflammatory or not, people are not likely to keep on talking about it. They are rather going to focus on the results and say, oh, it's getting better. And nobody is going to do anything that will aggravate it. But my worry in this is that whether comparing with civil war or not, that is neither here nor there. Because in the civil war, you know who you are fighting. But this one, they are beginning to look like the nation is fighting with ghosts. Today you see bandits, today you're talking about bandits, tomorrow you're talking about insurgency. So these are the issues. And I think that once the government is on top of the situation, everything will be fine.
All right, I want to ask you, can we say that unemployment has become a big menace? That's why insecurity is on the increase?
Well, it could be a factor, but it may not be all the factors. The herdsmen who come in are not unemployed. They are not unemployed. They have cattle, they have flock that they are leading, taking care of. So unemployment is a part of it, but it's not all. We're talking about violence now. You okay? So it's not all of it, honestly. It could be a part of it, but it's not all of it. It doesn't explain it all.
All right, Dr. Akoni, can you hear me, sir?
We do.
All right,
Yes.
Papal Nuncio and head of Catholic Church in Nigeria, that's Archbishop Anthony Guido Filipazzi, has said that the federal government is not doing enough to protect Nigerians from violence in the country. What's your response to that?
Well, that claim is not far from the truth. Even the federal government recently spoke about the fact that the developed countries of the West have not been cooperating with them with regards to arms sales. But the issue is, how much have we saved? How much money has our government saved from this denial by the Western countries? I mean, if they are not supplying arms to you and you keep budgeting every year for it, so how much savings are you making? And then, even the arms that we already acquired, to what extent are we making judicious use? Almost on, very regular. There are accusations that the soldiers deployed, that the troops deployed to quell the insurgents in the northeast, banditry problem in and the states are under-equipped. So it's obvious, it's clear that the government is not doing enough. And then perhaps the most convincing evidence that the federal government, which is responsible for protection of the entire country, is not doing enough, has come to manifest the decision of the governments of the different states that make up the southwestern region of Nigeria, come up with this amateur security because that's a clear statement to the federal government from the southwest to the federal government that look, we no longer have confidence in your arrangement, in your security arrangement. So to our tents, we are going back to our tents to reorganize, and that is what precisely they are done.
Okay.
With the amateur security outfit, which unfortunately initially.
Dr. Akoni, it's very bad. We can't hear you clearly. The sound is bad.
Attack. You know.
Dr. Akoni, I'm sorry to cut you in there. I think we'll get back to you. Okay. Mrs. Kamalafe, let's talk about what's going on in Edo State.
Yeah.
Okay, so talking about what's going on in Edo State, now we've been hearing different things, towards this election that is coming on. So Amnesty International's country director, that's Osai, noted that the laxity of the government and justice system against those encouraging violence at the pre-election, this pre-election period in the states, was actually a signal to what might happen on election day and afterwards. So what do you think of this statement coming from Amnesty International?
Yes, I think all Nigerians are concerned, and I think of course the electorate in Edo State should be concerned, and then the parties involved. It's unfortunate that we're focusing on violence or no threats of violence rather than the issues that should be of concern to the electorate. But because you see, people have to be alive to benefit from the government or participate in the government or, participate in the decision to put a government in place. So it's important that we talk about it. And it's good that we're talking about it now so that agents. And on this issue, I don't think that it be unfortunate, very, very unfortunate to see. We have to be bringing armed security agents, to be policing the polling booths and all the organization of the electorate and all of that. We must do what we have to do. All the security agencies should be brought to be involved. And the problem with Nigeria is that even those you trust with security get compromised along the way. And once they get compromised, you are endangered. However, I think the resolve of the electorate is very crucial in this matter. Who has been living in your area.
Mrs. Kamalafe, you mentioned.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. No, you said that the security, some of the security agencies that they cannot also be trusted sometimes. So, what security strategies do you think the government can actually implement, to ensure elections free and fair, and also represent, the thought of the people, the will of Edo State citizens?
Yes, that's what I was saying, that more than one security agency should be involved. and then the electorate have a duty to be vigilant. Voting, you cannot come from the blue to come and vote. People must have known you in that area, that you are resident in that area. People can identify you. I think, I don't know what INEC is doing, but there can be a suggestion, okay? If there are words that are made up of certain streets, or, let's put it as streets. I imagine that's a city or a particular area. Perhaps the voting way that residents of street A come in at a particular time, and you tell residents of street B to get ready. Now, if you see somebody that is strange, that you have never seen before, who comes with a voter's card, you should be able to alert the security, raise up your hand and say, I have seen something. And then it can be nipped in the bud. Because in all honesty, security agencies also need information to be active. And it is not possible, it is most unlikely that all of them will be compromised. It's very unlikely. In any case, the vigilance of the electorate, for me, is the best security that we can have.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Akoni. We're still talking about. Okay, we're talking about Edo State. We're talking about the election in Edo State coming up. So, coalition of civil society groups for good governance and electoral matters staged a protest in Abuja. I know, they were with placards that were shouting like, Edo people, they deserve peace, and the elections to be free and fair. And some of the protesters actually lamented that 39 days to the polls, the activities of political players have unfortunately heightened the security challenges in the state. And Nigerians are actually thinking that these, saying that APC, PDP, accusing each other, of staging violence, or saying that there's going to be a lot of violence that day. It's actually that they are trying to scare voters away. So what do you think about the statement?
Well, let me say that the people of Edo State who are looking forward to installing a new government must also be genuinely interested in the peace of their state. That is fundamental. Now, you have just recounted that the two principal gladiators in these elections, and I choose my words, gladiators, because you want to ask the question, are these disciplined politicians? All of the campaign tours that they have been undertaking, are the good things of life that they are promising the people. Rather, they keep accusing each other of this and that. So it keep deliberately hiding attention in that space. And the people, the potential voters, appear to be sheepishly following them. We don't have visible voices impressing it on these contestants, on these candidates, that look, you guys are not telling us what you plan to do when you assume your office eventually. All you are doing is accusing each other of this and that. We want you to talk to us of the plan that you have for us, the plan that you have for our children. The candidates do not seem to be subscribing to peace, and the voters, the large army of people following them, do not seem to be interested, genuinely interested, in asking them to douse the tension which they have consistently fired on. So it's sad enough. You begin to wonder, are there still elders in this state that can call the politicians to caution? Somebody was in APC yesterday, now is in PDP today, and he feels that the party he has just left is the worst in this world. And the best he could do is to, accuse the candidate who's just taking over his own party of the worst of offenses. It's nauseating.
Okay.
And I think the best thing to do in this regard is for the coalition of the civil society organizations to come together and force the two candidates and their main supporters to address the problem of threat to the peace of that state, and also take them back to their senses and get them to address the issues of public goods for that state.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Akoni. Ms. Kamalafe, please can you comment on what Dr. Akoni said? You know, do you actually agree with that? That's the solution to it?
Well, I seem to have a different view, not entirely different. I think I have followed the Edo campaign. You know, I watch it every day and I listen to it. I think that they have been speaking on what they want to do, what they would have done. I thought the same by the APC candidate, and I have also seen Governor WASSCE scam. I have said, give me the hands, and then I'll do this, I'll do that, and in some places, yes, I have done this, I have done that. So, to an extent, I've been talking about what to do and what not to do. But I think that the media has a duty here, and has not been living up to its responsibility, even as a journalist. What I'm saying is that now, we should have seen the media, and maybe Vanguard, when we should lead. Let's organize a debate. Let them sit down. We had a debate when Oshomole was campaigning for the second time in Edo State. Why are we not having a debate now? Why is the media not taking the lead? Well, the media has a duty to an agenda-setting role, and that is when we organize such debate, then the electorate will have the opportunity to hear again. I have seen them, you know, say this, say that, what they want to do, what they have done, or what they plan to do. Yes, go there and listen to this. But let's have a properly organized one, media coordinator, and I'm emphasizing unbiased media, because my observation in this is that the media itself seems to be biased, and I don't know whether we may have to get to a level that people who own media organizations should not be allowed to be in any political party.
All right, man. Let's look at
any media.
All right, man. Let's look at you know, the Business Hail Kama 2020, and you know, the new Company and Allied Matters Act that's Kama signed by President Muhammadu Buhari on August 7, 2020 is currently generating angry reactions across the country, as many stakeholders have also threatened to challenge the piece of legislation in court. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think the loudest noise has come from a section of religious leaders. If you live in a society, you have to live by the rules. Just yesterday in the UK, a Nigerian church, you know, was indicted or placed under some form of restriction. If the church can be sued, and it can also sue, what's wrong with regulation? But I do not know the details of this regulation. If the law says that you have a board of trustees, what's wrong with that? Why should a church be a one-man proprietorship business? Why should a mosque be a one-man proprietor business? What's wrong with that? I mean, even the Bible says, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto God what is God. We cannot have a society that is so disorderly, you know. I think that there's nothing wrong with asking religious organizations to be registered, have your board of trustees. You are still going to be in control, except if the detail says that the government will come and appoint your trustees. then there I differ. Because an outsider, somebody who's not your member, cannot come and control you. But if you are asked to put in place a machinery or a system that controls and gives everyone a sense of accountability and a sense of belonging, honestly, I do not see what is wrong with that.
All right, Dr. Akoni, I would like you to respond to what Mrs. Komolafe is saying.
Well, every society should have its own rules and regulations that guide its activities. We have the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. We also have some other laws, and now there is this Karma law. There is nothing that says that all of the laws that we have had should remain the same forever. Now, if we have a new law and the elected lawmakers feel that this is the best for us for now, let's look at the laws and see how we can cope.
Do you think it will scare investors?
I don't think it will scare investors. Rather, liberalize the business environment. I think this law has helped to liberalize the business environment more because the system is a little more relaxed. And I've not gone through the details, just the snippets that why churches should say that no, you can't regulate. But if that is the best that the elected lawmakers that we have in place have for us for now, and we feel like challenging them, let's go to court. It would be rather for us to say that no, we cannot operate with this set of laws. And you must have noticed that the Muslims are not complaining, because in Islam nobody believes that a mosque belongs to any individual. It's remained a collective property to every community. Churches, only churches that probably belongs to individuals. So for Muslims, I don't think they have any problem. And you must have seen comments from people over time since that law came into the public domain.
Okay, Dr. Akoni and Mrs. Komolafe, we're running out of time, so let's quickly round up. And before we go, let's just talk about the students writing WASSCE. So I would like to ask both of you, what do you actually think? Because it says that, according to reports, 7 students in Gombe have tested positive to COVID-19, and the government are planning to evacuate them and also isolate them while they're also writing the text. And we know students, there's no how you protect them and also try to space them. They will still communicate with each other after the examination. So how best do you think the government can help and also protect the students? Dr. Akoni, we'll start with you first.
Okay, thank you. For me, it's rather unfortunate that the people we have in government, with the people in the authorities now, don't seem to have independent mind of their own. Initially, what we had thought was that the exams were not going to come up this year at all. And if you ask me as a parent, I don't support the idea of asking students to return to school now to go write exams. The whole world is still living in fear. Infections still keep spiking. No vaccine has been found. As a university teacher, I don't see myself returning to the classroom now to go teach. To teach and getting infected. No, that's not the best, right? The period of the plague that we have had to endure is far more than the time left for us to endure. Russia has come with its own vaccine, even though scientists around the world are picking holes. But then India has also come up with its own vaccine, almost perfecting it. Australia is almost, in Australia, another vaccine seems to have been perfected. UK will soon come up with its own. US perhaps very
okay,
soon.
sorry, Dr. Akoni, let me cut you off there. Please, Mrs. Komolafe, can we just hear your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that we have to wait forever because we don't know when this will end. If tests are coming out and the affected students are isolated and they are still able to write their exams, honestly, I don't see anything wrong with that.
All
honestly,
right,
I think that's the best thing for now.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Akoni and Dr. Cindy Akoni, that's Senior Lecturer at School of Communication, Lagos State University, and Mrs. Fumi Komolafe, former Labour Editor of Vanguard newspaper. Thank you for coming on the show. And you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on the screen. And you can also go on our website to check more on our top stories, www.vanguardndr.com, to find out more of our top stories. My name remains Precious Chukudi, and I have been my co-host,
Damlola Mishaki.
Thank you for watching.